Though it is in the contract, the idea of a third fight just strikes me as ridiculous. What would be the story, the narrative, going into a rubber match after that absolute pasting? Tyson Fury, to me, implemented the Anthony Joshua game plan for Deontay Wilder. Back him up, make him think defense, and then take advantage of the fact that he's just got no inside game, doesn't really know how to clinch, no counter shots, and really just doesn't have the bulk to deal with the biggest heavyweights out there. It was a masterful, aggressive mugging. It was a masterclass of mugging. It wasn't a boxing masterclass. This was devised by Sugar Hill Stewart, and it sounds possibly like Tyson Fury's dad as well, John Fury, who'd been very vocal beforehand about how his son is going to take it to Wilder, something I thought sounded too dangerous. I picked Tyson Fury to win, just thinking that with him being the better boxer, that would this time get him the scores by the judges. But I expected to see a better Wilder as well, and maybe something of a bit of a classic. It was just an absolute drubbing. It was so one-sided. And the weaknesses they saw, they expertly exploited. I thought Fury did need to be more aggressive, at least, to lead to what I thought was going to be a points victory, just to try and wear Wilder out a bit so he wasn't as dangerous in the later rounds. But this time, they just absolutely went forward. They saw the weak spot and just went for the jugular. Now, as I said, like Wilder, he doesn't really know how to box on the back foot. He's always just tries to keep range and pacify you before he lines up the right hand. He doesn't really know how to put on the brakes and walk you onto shots. That was a problem. He was pushed back. He's off balance most of the time. Anyway, he was even more off balance. And then once Fury picked the right moments to go forward, he was throwing uppercuts and leaning that extra 42 pounds of weight on the more slender and lighter build of Deontay Wilder. By the time he got put down for the first time in round 3 with that shot to the back of the head, I think he was already mentally exhausted. You could see the panic on his face. He wasn't happy in there, and he just didn't know what to do. He didn't have the equipment here. It wasn't to do with bravery or courage, because he showed a lot of that. It's just technically he was completely out at sea when Fury was able to carefully be assertive and just go for him. He didn't just wade in stupidly. So those who are really laying into Wilder now and saying he's no good, you can't just be aggressive and beat him. Fury carefully chose his moments, and he did have to back away from a few right hands in the first 2 rounds to take the power out of them, take the sting off them before going back in. But once that first knockdown came in, it was pretty much game over, and kudos to Wilder, who managed to stick it out until the 7th round. He had a badly swollen lip, blood out of his ear, but credit to him, he wasn't looking at the referee. There was no spitting out the mouthpiece, complaining, trying to buy time, and he was just so incapable of doing anything. It made it more impressive, his bravery, because he was just marooned, standing there, taking his whooping, but he wasn't waving the white flag. He was just like, I'm going to stand here until I get knocked down. So it was a good thing, and a good timing, really, when that towel came in. I just can't see a third fight. What's the narrative? In the first fight, you could see at least that Wilder had that big one shot. After such a one-sided ass whooping, something that could really psychologically scar Wilder, there's no story there to go into a third fight, especially when you factor in most people felt Fury won the first one. So, at 35 years of age, Deontay Wilder is in a very difficult situation. All those technical faults. Ben Davison, who used to train Tyson Fury, one of the things he spoke about was Wilder always telegraphs that right hand by giving you a little hello first with the left hand. He always throws the left, then the right. And his footwork's so bad, he almost gallops up to you before he has to throw it. Fury saw that every time, rolled under, and then continued with the battering, accurate shots, looping, shorten them. It was just a comprehensive mugging, and definitely right up there as a heavyweight performance. Wilder's future is looking a bit bleak now with his age 35 this year. Probably can't teach an old dog new tricks, so I'm not sure what he does. For Tyson Fury, The future is as bright as ever, and even though technically I picked him to win, he won in such an emphatic way that I would have never have picked. It kind of feels like he's proven me wrong again.